It's me, the tree guy!
Hello and welcome to another episode in my series about getting into competitive Riftbound play. This week's video is about sideboarding. I'm going to go over the basics of sideboarding and then take a shot at making my own sideboard for Nexus nights. A sideboard is a separate pool of cards from the main deck that can be swapped out between games. Most competitive Riftbound events outside of China consist of rounds that are best of 3 games. A sideboard allows you to change the contents of your main deck in between games. Sideboarding allows you to improve your matchup. You can fill your sideboard with cards that make your weak matchups better. If the cards in your sideboard don't help you in your matchup, then you just keep them sided out. Another way to sideboard is called the transformational sideboard. This aims to change the original game plan of the deck by siding out one set of cards for another. The classic example of this is a combo deck siding out its combo in game 2 and becoming a control deck. This is especially good when you predict that your opponent has sideboard cards of their own against your combo. To start, you need to have a sideboard plan. The only way you'll know which cards you want to include is by first developing a plan. If you're going to make a transformational sideboard, that'll probably take up most of your sideboard slots, so that's pretty much your plan. The more common way of sideboarding is to use cards that make certain matchups better while siding out the cards that are bad in the matchup. To do this, you need to know what matchups you're expecting. Admittedly, I have no idea how people get a read on the meta, so I'm just going to go off what I've seen people playing around me. Sideboard cards are also often cards that are good in certain situations. Cards that are dead in some matchups, but really good in certain matchups are typically what you see a lot of in sideboard cards. An example of this is Unyielding Spirit. If the opponent has no damage spells or abilities, it's a completely dead card. But in the matchups where they do have damage spells or abilities, it's almost like another Defy. In Riftbound, the sideboard is 8 cards. It's a bit small compared to other games, so you might want cards that are more useful in more situations. You need to get more value out of each card because the sideboard space is so tight, so more general answers might be a little bit better for Riftbound. There are some things to consider about sideboarding that are specific to Riftbound because of the nature of the game. First, there is a cool opportunity for transformational sideboards since you're allowed to change your chosen champion in between games. So for example, I could go from a Lee Sin centered deck to a Lee Sin ascetic deck if I wanted. Battlefield effects can be another point to consider when sideboarding, because battlefields change the way the game plays out, so it's possible to sideboard cards to work for specific battlefields since you know you'll always be playing with at least 2. For example, if you're expecting to go second, you could run Obelisk of Power and side out your 2-drops for 4-drops instead. For this video, I'm making a normal sideboard. I'm focusing on my spells because my units are mostly just big dudes. I tried looking around and seeing what everyone around me was playing for the past 2 weeks, and my local meta looked somewhat like this. So for this video, I'm going to try preparing my sideboard for Jinx, Teemo, Yasuo, and Darius. These are the cards that I think would make good sideboard cards in green and orange. To start, Rune Prison. It's good against one big thing attacking me. It's a little bit better on defense than offense, but crucially, it's very good against Dr. Mundo and Vi, while still being good against Darius and Draven. Spirit's Refuge. Seems alright against decks that target a lot. It might be good to slow down Teemo, or maybe even Yasuo, but I think it might be a little bit slow. Blitzcrank. It could be useful against any deck that wants to defend on one battlefield like Master Yi, but once again, this might be a little bit slow. Mage Seeker Warden. It counters a lot of orange abilities like Readying and Dead Bloom Predator being played to a battlefield directly. It seems bad against purple decks since they just move their own units a lot without readying them. Mystic Reversal. It's good against big spell decks, but it has a very heavy power cost, so that makes it seem very situational. Sabotage. Good against decks that rely on specific pieces like Aurora, but it can sometimes whiff, which feels extra bad since you're also recycling a rune to play it. Challenge. It's removal in unit heavy decks. This card could easily be played main deck if you wanted because it's pretty flexible. Unyielding Spirit. It's very good against direct damage spells. This is basically what you want in a sideboard card. Cannon Barrage. It's good against lots of little units. I feel like I would side this in against Victor specifically. Other than that, it seems hard to get a lot of value from. Carnivorous Snapvine. This is challenge on a body. It's more expensive because it costs 2 power, and less powerful because it can only fight something on a battlefield, but it's also less situational because you don't need to have something already on board. The cards I ended up choosing for my sideboard were 3 Unyielding Spirit, 1 Charm, 2 Rune Prison, and 2 Challenge. I knew I wanted to get a 3rd Charm, but I didn't have space in my main deck. I thought about going down in En Garde for it, but the En Garde is better when I have the Dreaming Tree out. The 3 Unyielding Spirit are for Darius and Jinx. They both played Falling Star on me, which can't be countered by Defy, so Unyielding Spirit seems pretty worth it. The 2 Rune Prisons are for Teemo and Jinx, since they can't use Dr. Mundo or a pumped up Vi to end the game with Ride the Wind. They also help out in a few other matchups as well. The 2 Challenge are there just to give me more removal if needed. I opted for these instead of Carnivorous Snapvine because of how it interacts with the Dreaming Tree, and it doesn't change the curve of my deck too much. So this is my plan against each matchup. Against Jinx, +3 Unyielding Spirit, +2 Rune Prison, -2 Block, -1 Wind Wall, -2 En Garde. Against Teemo, +2 Rune Prison, +1 Charm, +2 Challenge, -1 Wind Wall, -2 Block, -2 En Garde. Against Yasuo, I like most of the combat tricks. En Garde lets Lee Sin or Udyr survive a hit from Yasuo Remorseful, meaning they trade. Maybe I'll side out Dragon's Rage for Charm, since Dragon's Rage has less good targets and can be hit by Defy, but we'll see. Against Darius, +3 Unyielding Spirit, +2 Rune Prison, -1 Block, -1 Wind Wall, -3 En Garde. I'm back from my Nexus night, and I got completely destroyed. I had 2 losses and 1 tie. Round 1, I went up against the same Master Yi player as the previous week. In both games, I got completely tempoed out by Charm and Carnivorous Snapvine. Charm is super broken in Master Yi, since you can easily guarantee that you get value from Master Yi's Legend ability. The Carnivorous Snapvine didn't seem too oppressive, but if you're already behind, it's really hard to come back from. I really didn't know what to sideboard here since I didn't prep for Master Yi. I ended up siding out the 2 blocks and putting in 2 challenges. In round 2, I went up against another Master Yi. I ended up with 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 tie. All 3 games played out in a similar way because we both just wanted to hold 1 battlefield the whole game. In the 3rd game, I would have won the next turn, but we went to time, so the round ended in a draw. My sideboard plan was the same as the previous Master Yi. My round 3 opponent was against Yasuo. I ended up losing 2-1. In the 3rd game, I misplayed really bad. I just needed to hold on to a key point with my Lee Sin, and I knew my opponent had a Mind Splitter in hand. If I had hidden the block, I would have been able to hold and win the game. In this game, I didn't end up siding anything out because I liked the Dragon's Rage for when he played Rasa or Yasuo. Overall, I felt like my metagame read was pretty bad, and my sideboarding plan did basically nothing. I felt so good going 3-0 last week, and this week I got humbled pretty bad. I don't know how I should approach sideboarding in the future, but I guess it's something I'll have to figure out over time. That's the end of this one, so if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like or a comment, and I hope you have a great day.